Okay, there we go. Okay, just making sure. Obviously, I'm still getting used to everything, so every little change or something just minor different throws me off. So, welcome to Tuesday, June 16th, 2015. This is episode live broadcast number 6. I'm still figuring out my math, but I'm getting better at it. So, at the end of yesterday's show, I promised you a surprise. So, what we're going to do is start a series today where I'm going to walk you through actually setting up your educational path. Now, I use Rainmaker platform by Copyblogger Media. That's this. And, well, I guess you can't see that, but let me move this over. Now you can see it. So, the idea is to help you get up and running as fast as possible. Okay. Because when I came online with my business 7 years ago, I did everything wrong. I didn't start with an audience. I learned, and wasted just tons and tons of time trying to figure out what would be the best components to use as part of my solution. So I was busy evaluating all the options. And in other words, I wasted a lot of time to where 7 years later, I'm starting to build my audience now. Now that's great because I do have a fantastic solution. I'm using Rainmaker platform. So I did, all that time evaluating the options and all. I know with 100% certainty that I found the right, the perfect solution or the best solution on the market that continues to get better, which is Rainmaker. Yes, I'm a corporate shill, whatever. But I spent a lot of time and effort, my effort, and lost a lot of money where I was putting the wrong pieces together. And now I understand, what the right pieces are. So what I'm doing is I'm doing it myself for my business to build my audience. And then, obviously build my community from there. And from there also build my, customer base and repeat customers and brand ambassadors, etc. Basically, to build each part of my educational path. And the idea being, I want to educate you either further down my path, closer to me, or I want to educate you, repel you away so that you'll go find your actual solution and I don't waste your time, right? Very basic. So I'm going to share my screen now and I'm going to start walking you through exactly how how we get started. And the very first step is you're going to need to get rid of the cat. My cat provider is just all over me. The numbers are down. She's unhappy. So she's really doing anything she can to boost ratings because she's a big numbers cat. Just always tap dancing on me. So let's head over and I'm going to go ahead and screen share and we will screen share the. Make sure that you're seeing this. Okay, so this is the back end of my YouTube channel, but that is not what we need. And we need the cat to go away. Okay, so let's go. We'll head back over. This is the live broadcast. Okay, so this is my dashboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by going over to posts, plural. Stop it, Dorsey. She picks right when I get online live to suddenly now her claws have to be sharp. Her priorities are horrible. And she thinks that that's going to boost numbers. I don't think so, sweetie. Okay, so let's go to, I wrote a post okay, here we are. So I had a post a long time ago that I did. Actually, it's probably my best post ever as far as traffic and comments and so forth. Just people actually getting benefit from it. So it kind of got me thinking. But August 23rd of 2013 was when I actually updated it, and I think that I had actually done it previous to that. It might have been 2012 that I originally wrote this. However, this will walk you through, and I'm probably going to need to update this again so that everything reflects most recently on MailChimp. But what it does is it walks you through setting up your free MailChimp account. Typically, you're going to be fine with just the free account. And what we're doing is we're going to walk people through the educational path to where everyone starts out as a stranger, so they have no clue that we exist at all. And then once they are aware of us, the next step is up to them to introduce themselves and make us aware of them, right? So for Jason Hobbs LLC, let's say that you're a potential audience member. You had no clue I existed. Suddenly you became aware. Maybe you found me on my YouTube channel with the Rainmaker, you know, the different, well, my live broadcast and or my, you know, how-to videos that I'm putting together as far as to get up and running with the Rainmaker platform for your business. Either way, you suddenly became aware that I existed. From there, your next step is entirely up to you. The ball's in your court, because you're still a stranger to me. I have no clue that you exist. I may be able to see, like on my YouTube channel, I may see under analytics or whatever that, you know, I had X number of views and, you know, people watch so many minutes or hours of my videos or whatever, but I still don't know you personally, right? So, and that's the whole point. Where was I? Okay. And that's the whole point of the educational path, is I need to find out a way that's going to give you an incentive to introduce yourself to me. And the first step that I'm using is kind of like a half step, is kind of how I'm looking at it, to where your half step is you're going to introduce yourself by signing up for my email list, which I use MailChimp for. Okay, and I can set up a bunch of, you know, automatic emails that are sent to you based on you joining this list that you're signing up for. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to set up a single. So in order to get into MailChimp, you're going to have to log in, obviously. And I use 1Password to hold all mine. And you can actually have multiple accounts. These are a couple of client accounts. But my account is the main one, right? And, okay, so what we're doing is we're creating a single list. So, for instance, the On a Photography list is one that is created, and I can create a sign-up form specific for that list, which is actually what we're going to do, so I don't have to show you all the specifics of setting up the actual list, because number one, I cover that in this blog post, and which I will also update. But it'll walk you through, you know, getting set up and creating your first list and, you know, so forth. So actually here's where it was, you know, going through the specifics. So I'm not going to do all that here. However, once you have the list created, you're then going to want to set up a sign-up form for your list. So for this, what I'm doing is getting an embedded form. And you'll see that if you go into over here, like, it's a little bit different layout, just because, you know, MailChimp is constantly updating, right? So, and like I said, I updated that. It's been a while. So, okay, so embedded forms, let's say that I select it, and really all that I need is this. So I go ahead and copy and paste, or copy it so I can paste it. And I'm going to head over. This is on my website on Jason Hobbs LLC. I'm going to show you how this is set up. Now, with Rainmaker, you're able, under the universal settings, to actually always forget where it's at. I think it's under content. Yeah, here we go. So you can automatically, which I have done, authenticate your MailChimp account. What does that mean exactly? That means that whenever I create a new product, so just an example here, here's the product, you'll see that there's a meta box or whatever that shows up underneath, and it allows me to say, okay, anyone that signs up for this on a free product, right? And it's free product here, right? Anyone that signs up for it, I want them automatically added to the MailChimp list. I can choose that, you know, double opt-in is not required or it is required. What's a double opt-in? A double opt-in means that they're going to enter their email address. That's the first opt-in. So they're saying, here's my email address, and they'll do that. They'll do that using the sidebar, let's say. So in my primary sidebar, which I don't actually have a sidebar, so let me use the after entry. because the design template that I'm using with Rainmaker, I don't want a sidebar because I wanted everything focused on the content. So like over here where you see, this is all content as opposed to having, part of the space divided up for the sidebar, right? So let me go ahead and I'm going to get the OptIn form. I'm going to go over and just drag it in here. And then I need to fill in the title. This is a horrible title, and you wouldn't ever want to use this. But the idea is you want to give them a benefit. What is the benefit that you're going to get by actually signing up? And then you want to deliver that benefit in your welcome email, which you can actually set up over on, in MailChimp. So for instance, this is the embedded form. I got this. So let me go ahead and finish adding this over here. The way that I typically do it is I'll go and I'll drag a text widget down into the inactive widgets, go ahead and paste in all that code, but I don't need it all. The only piece that I actually need is what you see the form action, and it has the equal with, and then inside parentheses, it puts a URL. I need that actual URL in order to, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and you can see that I got everything because it's just the parentheses left, and I don't want the parentheses, right? So I left them. I just cut out the URL. And see, that goes here under the form action, which I'm going to go ahead and paste in, and I'm going to hit tab, and you'll see that now it's populated strictly with that form action for this one list. Then I need to say, yes, I want to accept emails. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to want to go ahead and say, this is once again a horrible idea, but, or a horrible actual button text. But the idea is, I'll go ahead and save that. And then we'll be able to go back over here and refresh. And then when we get down to the, after everything, before the, so before the comments and after the blog post is complete, here is the sign up that I've added, right? And I have the list created over here in MailChimp, and I've set up an embeddable or embedded form, and all I've done is taken this copy and paste so that I can get two pieces. Number one's the form action, that's the main thing, and then the other part is the email, the capital email, email right here. So you basically need this to go in so that it will know that, okay, this field that they're filling in is the email, their email address, so that MailChimp understands what it is that the information that the user is giving to them. Okay, so we have the email. We can put in the text here, which I did not to start, but this is really simple. You don't want to get overly complicated, but you do want it to make it a benefit. You see a lot of people give away an ebook or a free video or this or that, but they're promising something of value in exchange for someone signing up to their email list. We keep it as frictionless as possible, but there is still some friction. They still have to give something to you in order to get onto this list, right? So there is a transaction, even though it's not actually, payment. Now, the first part of the transaction is that they have to give their email address and then click enter, right? Or click the, so they have to enter their email address and then click this button. Okay, but the second part of, so that's the first opt-in. If you want to make it a double opt-in, then once they put that in, so let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to sign up to this list. Okay, so I put in my email. Okay, so see, this is a double opt-in list. So, and I haven't, removed the double opt-in, right? I'm saying, look, I want you to not only opt in, but I want you to confirm your opt-in, which is the second part. So I'll head back over to my email. and there'll be a little email that will show up in my email inbox. And all it's going to do is ask me to click a single link. And when I do click that link, that's when the double opt-in will have been completed. So now I'm added to the list. I'm actually going to get anything that is emailed to that list from, you know, in this instance on a photography, but really, you know, any list is going to be emailed by the person that, you know, owns the list, right? So you own your MailChimp list, people sign up on it. If they don't do the second part of the opt-in, they don't get any of the email. That's very important to understand. And it sounds kind of obvious, you know, and just kind of like, well, why would you tell me something that stupid? But, you know, when we're first starting out, nothing is obvious. Nothing at all is ever obvious. So I like to try and state the obvious so that the new folks understand, right? So going back to the product and showing you that, okay, we baked in MailChimp into Rain, or they baked in MailChimp into Rainmaker, Copyblogger Media did. So I can automatically, and this is again, I can say I want the double opt-in is required, or the double opt-in is not required specifically for this product. Because if you've already purchased this free product, I may not want to make you also, you know, opt in as far as confirm your email address. I personally like to. I feel that the more friction that I can put into you getting onto the list and starting the relationship with me, the better it is for me, because less people that aren't actually customers are going to get through. Now, that's not 100% the case, but it's just kind of the overarching view that I have. I would rather repel people than I would attract everyone. The idea being my solution isn't for everyone, just like your solution isn't for everyone. So don't worry about getting everybody. Worry about repelling everyone that doesn't qualify, and the ones your ideal customer, worry about attracting them. Because if you focus on just attracting that core customer, that one ideal customer, you'll find that you'll organically repel the others, because your customer is going to relate to you personally, to your solution. They're going to be excited about your solution, and they're going to, you know, they're basically requesting more information, right? Okay, so you can add it on, you know, it's built into Rainmaker. I don't need this anymore because I've already added my form action in my email field. If you do want to go ahead and include the first name and the last name, you can do that using capital F name and capital L name. But you'll also need to make sure that over here, it includes not just email address, but also the first and the last name. So you would have to, you know, update this form, because even if I put in over here that, you know, F name and L name, if it doesn't, you know, it's getting information, but it doesn't have anything on the MailChimp end to attach that to. It knows that the email is the email address, but it doesn't know that the first name and the last name, what they are, because that specific list was not set up in, you know, to accept the first and last name. It was set up to have the minimal amount of friction, which is just give me your email address, and confirm your email address so that we can start our relationship to see if, number one, if I am, you know, your solution, and if so, I want to continue to educate you farther and farther into my educational path for my customers. Okay, so we'll get out of there. We don't need that for that. Okay, so we're back over here and we've set it up. So now we can head out to the front, go ahead and refresh it, but you'll see that the sign up with the email address is right here. Now, typically you're going to want to fill in the other, you know, the text to show before. One thing that a lot of folks like to put after the form is that, you know, yeah, so I promise never spam you, or, you know, I'll never spam you, or however you want to put it. But we'll go ahead and refresh. And you can see now it's asking for the first name and last name because I left the F name and L name here. So let me go ahead and delete those. then when we head back over and refresh, you'll see that those disappear, but you still have the I promise never to spam you. And like I said, I could put some text in between the sign up text and the email entry field. So, okay, so obviously if you're putting this, I put it into my after entry, but you could also, put it into your primary sidebar. A lot of people like to do that. There are some of the 30 or so, and I've added a couple of extra ones that I've purchased. So or that were free. So this isn't for everyone, available to everyone. Neither is Classic or Community Pro. Some of these are third parties that I'm third party Genesis child themes that I purchased and decided to have installed on my reseller, my Rainmaker reseller, so I can make them available to my customers. And if anytime I need to do a custom child theme for someone, I'm able to do that and have it uploaded and used on their Rainmaker install, just like you can do with the retail. You can always go and submit your custom child theme or a third-party child theme that you want to use, and I think it's Daisy Olson, I'm pretty sure, with Copywire, that handles the she makes sure that everything is up to snuff as far as your code before they put it on, install it to your site and let you use it. But the actual point of why I came over here was there are some of these. For instance, I can do a live preview real quick. So as you can see, if you come, and I'm not going to save this, but let me go ahead and grab this. You see what it's doing is it is automatically setting up, the information button and but it's doing it based on the way that this design is built. So we'll go ahead and get out of there and go to the live preview. Oh no, go to the demo was what I was trying to do. Yeah. So this is that, the email opt-in, and the Generate Pro was put out a while back, but it was, set up basically to primarily drive email opt-ins. And because a lot of people use that as the very first step in the process of getting to know their audience, right? And that's how I'm starting to use it for me as well. I don't have it set up on my website yet, but that's actually something I'm going to be doing later today. So if you go to my website right now, the primary thing is that you can sign up to my wait list, give me your first and last name and email address. And I hate that I'm curious. I think that's probably a very bad call to action. I'm going to be changing that later as well. But the idea being, it's only on this one page right now. And what I'm going to be doing is probably adding it to the footer, because what I want people to understand is, look, it's not you don't have to marry me to start. If you want to get to know me better, number one, I'm going to give you some great free information on my YouTube channel, on my podcast, on my live broadcast, obviously, etc. So what I'm trying to do is put out as much quality, useful information for you, my customer, and not worry about everyone else, right? And in doing that, what I'm looking to do is let you know that I exist and make it helpful enough to you to where now that you know that I exist, you're ready to get to know me better. So that's the whole point behind the educational path. So we started today by setting up the very first part. Let's get a MailChimp. You can get a free MailChimp account. And a lot of times you won't even need to pay for anything with MailChimp for a while. As you're building your list and all, it's a great service. They have a great mascot, and they have a great, they have a great service. They're up in Atlanta, just north, about 3.5 hours north of me, where I lived for years. So, I'm kind of Aweber. I used them as well, and they were good. Can't complain about anything from them. It was just MailChimp's right up the road, and they got the monkey. And I've always been a fan. If you look at my logo, you can see I'm a fan of, cartoon characters or whatever as your, as your mascot or your whatever for your business. So I relate to them, right? So I use them. However, you have to keep in mind that you can use Aweber or whatever. The point is you're looking to start a long-term relationship with your audience. You have to get them aware that you exist. And then once they are aware, you give them a very small transaction, a micro conversion, if you will, where all that they have to do is introduce themselves by giving you an email address that they then confirm by clicking on a link within their email inbox that MailChimp automatically sends to them, asking them to please confirm their email before they put them on your list for good. And then obviously they're on your list until they decide to get rid of you. So you don't want to ignore them forever because they'll forget why they signed up or that they signed up to your list. And when you do finally email them, they'll probably just unsubscribe and go away. The flip side to that coin is you don't want to email them day in and day out every hour and send them a bunch of sales messages and, oh, I forgot, I messed up on the last one or whatever, and keep resending stuff because they have stuff to do, right? They have life, they have things that they have to take care of. So you have to respect that and keep that in mind. You want to be top of mind awareness. That's always a good thing as a business when you're top of mind aware, that your customer is aware of you. It's not a good thing when you get top of mind because you're basically talking about stuff that they're not interested in at the time, that they're not focused on at the time. That's when they're going to unsubscribe from you as well because they don't need the headache, right? So the idea is to get them on your list and then start educating them. That's the promise that you want to make when you ask them to sign up for your list. So for instance, when I showed you, I put that, the opt-in form within the back end of Rainmaker. I went to the content areas and I added that opt-in form to the after entry widget area or content area. And then, I also said you could do the exact same thing in the primary or secondary sidebar widget areas if you're using them. The point though, is that once you get that out there for them, you want to give them a promise that they're going to want. So there has to be value for them in signing up for your list. So deliver that value in the welcome email and then continue to educate. A great example, the Showrunner course by Copyblogger Media. Go to rainmaker.fm. You'll see the Showrunner as one of their podcasts, one of the on the podcast network. I was trying to explain that and I'm over explaining it. I think it's, there are podcasts on that network, right? And they do a great job for me because they send one email a week. And I joke in my, I wrote an email I wrote a blog post yesterday about this. I spent $295 on the Showrunner course. They're closed it down currently, but they're about to open it up for a week. And I could not recommend it more because if you're going to start, creating your own media, if it's video and or audio, etc., they're going to teach you the firmest possible foundation because these are two people, John Nastor and Jared Morris, or I should probably say Jared Morris and Johnny Nastor, that the two showrunners, the two guys behind the course and behind the podcast itself, they both have very successful podcasts on their own. And they've also been podcasting for years. And on top of that, they're part of Copyblogger Media. So they're gathering all this information from all of these shows on that podcast network. Different people. Sonia Simone has her show, Confessions of a Pink-Haired Marketer. Chris Garrett and Tony Clark have the Mainframe. And then you have Pamela Wilson, I'm pretty sure. Big Brand Systems or whatever. She has her own show on the network. All of these people, and then there's the lead with Damian Farnsworth and Jared Morris, and then Damian has his own rough draft. The point being, all of these shows, they're learning real time. Like this is actual, actions that they're doing, and they are kind of putting that information or organizing all the lessons and the best practices in this showrunner course. So it's going to be like $4.95 or whatever is the final price, I think, or not the final price. I'm sure it'll go up over time because they're continuing to add value to it. They're going to continue to raise the price. But the point is, there's a ton of knowledge there. And I joked in my blog post about how, that one email a week, they sell like bandits, and, they don't. It's completely tongue in cheek, because if you ever interacted with Jared Morris or with Johnny Nastor, that's just not how they're going to do. That's just completely opposite of how their overall approach is. So, okay, so it concludes our episode for today. I have gone over. I apologize for taking a couple extra minutes of your time. However, tomorrow we're going to start moving farther down the educational path. Today we dealt with the very first initial step. Right? We said, okay, this person has become aware of you. They, have found something of your content. If it's your podcast, if it's your, videos on YouTube, whatever, or a blog, a guest post on a bigger blog or something, but they became aware of you. Now, the first step for them is to introduce themselves to you so that you're aware of them. That starts them down from the stranger. That starts them moving along the educational path closer to you, on into your community, to your customer, repeat customer, brand ambassador, etc. So thank you for taking a couple of minutes of your day. I really hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please, jason@jasonhobbsllc.com, shoot me an email, or go by my website and go to the contact page, and any contact form on my website is going to go to me directly. So I hope to hear from you. If you have questions, if you think I'm doing a great job, if you think I suck, then please let me know. I love feedback, and that's the hardest part about getting started, is there is no feedback. It's all in my head, basically figuring out what to do and how to do it and what's next. So tomorrow we're going to go further down the educational path, and it's going to be step 2, which is we're going to start working on taking them from the email opt-in list, educating them to where they want to become part of your community and register for your free product within your Rainmaker platform. So have a great day. Seriously, a great day. Kick some ass. I believe in you, and I'll see you tomorrow.